Okay. We're going to save file access on Keybase. And we're going to go here and go here. And for your reference, Gary, you can just hit this link right up here in the general channel.
Okay.
That's always the log. Okay, so what we want to do is we want some file that we're going to save on Keybase. That's all, right?
Yeah.
Accessing Keybase file system. So I can do this from my workstation here. Where is it? There's a lot of windows. I know it was on here a second ago. I just saw it.
Hey, Eric.
Where are you looking, Jim?
I'm looking at this Docs keyboard file system here. The Windows address of the file system, I think, is K:.
Yes, I see that in on my drive.
Okay, so where is my Git? I don't have my Git bash here.
Do you realize that by using Keybase, we can actually share files on our hard drives?
Yeah. Now, actually, I'll do this again. I don't think I'll be able to access it. ls/. See, I don't see my volumes up here.
You're not sharing your screen with us, are you? Oh, wait,
Yeah.
yes, you are. Yes, you
Yeah.
are.
Okay, so so instead of, I'm going to right click. How do I? Under more, I can run as administrator. Okay, and now if I do an ls/, I get the same thing.
I want to back up a second here, Jim. I noticed you're using a Windows operating system.
Yeah.
Usually you're on. I know usually you're on your Mac, and I think you're.
Usually I'm on Ubuntu.
Oh, Ubuntu. Okay.
I'm on Ubuntu too, but I was just trying to show where the files are in my PC.
Oh, okay.
And
all right.
I'm having a little bit of trouble for some reason.
Go to Explorer Files in Windows, not.
Yeah. So if I go to
this PC.
Okay.
I don't see it on yours. Let me share mine and let me show you what I see.
Okay, maybe because I've never created any file, but
I think there are some steps you have to do, but I don't remember when, what kicks those off.
thing
But
is,
I did,
I can't see my C drive here. Okay, ls/c/. Oh, it's there though. Never mind.
but what I'm saying is you can't see your F drive.
I thought I was looking for the K drive.
Oh, yeah, K drive.
Okay, there's no such file on directory. I can see the C. C's not here though. I mean, the C's here, the D's here.
Can I share? So here's my D drive, and there's my C drive, and there's my Keybase drive, just like we saw it through the Keybase interface. If I go to the public directory, there's my Starry Plow again.
Right.
So there's something you've got to do to kick that off. Why don't we do a search on the internet for can't see my K drive. No, that's not a Keybase. Keybase GitHub issue 10. Okay, here we go. It says, some time ago I have lost access to all folders in the protected K drive. I have rebooted, reinstalled, and done everything I can think of. Keybase GUI still works. I can use chat and modify but I can't see any of the K folders. It's not visible in the Windows Explorer either. Okay, it says, this is an error caused by failure to install the Visual C++ redistributable. Will probably work if you wow, I'm glad I don't have to do this, Jim. But I did go through something similar, and I lost access to my K drive, and I was really disappointed. But then I started installing all the updates that Keybase prompted me for, and finally everything was working again. So you may have to do a similar thing, but I don't, like I say, I don't know when it gets kicked off.
Okay, so how do I see if I'm online with Keybase?
Go to the app and click on all your buttons, files, chat, wallet, everything. You're not sharing your screen. I'll be right back.
I went to Ubuntu. And I get a status. I don't know if I'm logged on. No help for topic rolling. Okay, here's how I add a member to a Keybase team. Keybase team, add member. User joking, role, writer, big one. Let me just. They're already a member, so I'm logged in. Um, no, but just take a file here, copy the file, slash Keybase. Are you back, Gary? So my understanding is I can just copy a file. There, I may have to be root. Well, that's not exactly right. It should be Keybase private, your name. If there's a folder, I don't know how to update that. Keybase file system.
I mean, reading through this page, it seems like it's literally doing a peer-to-peer sharing from your hard drive to. It's like setting up an encrypted, secured server folder on your hard drive that other people can access with their appropriate key.
Yeah, it doesn't tell me how.
Well, it says install up there at the top. Is that just for installing Keybase?
Where's install?
at the very top.
I have Keybase installed. Oh,
Did you click on the files system here in Keybase, Jim?
what are you talking about?
Go back to your Keybase app.
Okay, the Keybase app is on the PC. Okay, I'm on Linux here. I'm on.
Okay,
Robot.
but what I'm saying is on your PC, go to the Files tab. Just click on that for me, just to humor me.
Right, we did that. Oops.
We did?
Oh.
I never saw it. Okay, go to Public. Okay.
Well, there was that.
Maybe you need to save something there now, Jim, to be able to, for it to appear on your hard drive.
Right, and then how do I sync?
Upload a file, or you can even do a whole directory.
And then how do I sync it?
Wait,
Log in again?
click on that. Click on Files, double click on Files, and then cause it to reload, and then go back to Public. Okay, now see if it uploaded. Okay, now do me a favor and upload something to the team directory. I want to see if I can see it when you upload it to the team directory. I'll try to do the same thing here. In fact, I'm just going to move something in my team directory on my computer.
What?
What team are we in now?
I didn't see where to put the.
Okay, I'm going to put this in the in the row. I'm going to put my flag in the Rolang channel, which I did. Now go to the Rolang channel and see if you can see it.
Where would I see it? Under members?
No, go to Teams, double click on that, go to Rolang, double click on that.
Oh, there's a file icon over here.
Huh?
There's a file icon over.
Oh, see, I moved that file on my computer, and now you see it in your app.
You have to hit this file icon.
Yeah, that's one way to get to it, or you can go through files. Go through files and find it.
How do I do that? I don't know how.
Double click on it. Okay, go to team. Yeah, there it is. I see that it's totally distributed and it works already. We don't have to do anything. But I was thinking that somewhere in that process you were going to get prompted that you need to do some upgrades, and they were going to fix your problem at home. See if you can see it on your K drive now.
Um,
Go to, let's see, yeah, that one. Still not there.
Still not there.
Oh, let me think. Let me do some more searching on the web while you play with it.
And the okay, I'm also logged in here. I don't know how to sync it. Maybe I should log out and log in again.
Your guess is as good as mine. Probably better.
Oh, that's the wrong window. I think I read somewhere that I had to be root. But I don't see anything else. Keybase login. How do I do that? I guess that's all I do is Keybase login.
Oh, I just saw one more thing.
Oh, please enter the Keybase password for Jim Scarver.
Jim, I found a setting you need to check.
Okay, now I got the problems here. I got to figure out how to sign in.
Well, check something for me before you do that, because I think this will fix your K not showing up on your Windows machine. Or I hope it fixes it. I seem to recall having to do that myself.
I don't know what that error message is all about.
I don't either.
And it didn't mount any files. When I relogged in. Okay. What were you suggesting I do?
Go back to your Keybase app. Go down to settings, double click on settings. I think you're going to get some important information. Go up to your account. Double click on your account up there.
That's where I am.
Huh? What? Oh! It's just telling you you can verify your phone number, and don't worry about that. What you need to go to is files. Double click on files over here. Yeah. Enable Keybase in Explorer. Bingo.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, this is going to create a directory on your computer that's a K, like the K drive, essentially.
That's my understanding, and it will be synced with the distributed kbfs file system.
That's so lovely.
Yes.
On my iMac, I've got a folder called Keybase. So, Gary, I can view your files in the Rolang folder on my computer as well.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Eric, have you tried to look on your system yet?
well,
Yeah, you're behind a firewall, so that's another can of worms.
Well, I'm not home right now, but I have Keybase. I installed Keybase on my Mac computer, which is at my studio, and right now I'm on my Windows laptop, and so Keybase is wanting me to verify my identity with my other Keybase installation, which isn't here, so I can't actually open Keybase.
Gotcha.
On this computer.
Yeah, there are some permutations that you've got to figure out.
So I have to basically bring this computer to my studio and then install it on here and on my phone, and then I can make new installs from it.
Gotcha.
Now, are these files mirrored? So are these mirrored on the cloud, like on Keybase's cloud, or are they literally just being served directly from your desktop?
Well, it's hard to say because I can save them, up, or I can save them here laterally, and you see them and have access to them no matter which, no matter what I do. So
but is it like Git, like in terms of like which is another thing I'm messing with, like Jim, like your Git account, and what is like Keybase doing with Git?
Well, they have a full a full integration with Git. It's just interesting that you mentioned that. But again,
I'm just using a bash shell. It has nothing to do with Git here. But yes, you can also store files on Git, encrypted.
And then someone else needs this Keybase app to access those Git files, so you can mess with Git from Keybase.
That sounds correct.
You can decode. You can store encrypted files and decrypt them on GitHub. Git is the protocol. GitHub is where you store the files. There's really no connection between Git, the protocol, and Keybase.
Oh, okay. I thought it was GitHub. I didn't realize Git was a separate thing.
It's GitHub. That's where the connection is. The Git bash, I'm just using as a bash. I'm not using Git.
Okay.
These are the devices I have connected. If you have your phone connected, you can easily add a device from.
Yeah, you can sort of daisy chain your devices and use one to verify another one.
Yeah, if I had it on my phone, I would do it right now. But I'm sort of a.
Well, that might be a way to bring the verification across rather than having to. Because I have it on several things now.
So it wants the 8-word key.
That's your passphrase.
Right. It wants the 8-word key to add a device.
You've got your passphrase saved somewhere, don't you? And we're being recorded, so if you find it, you don't want to expose it since
Right.
your screen's being shared.
But you're just pointing out that that's the procedure of doing that.
Right. Okay. Unfortunately, look up Ubuntu. How come we can't? Key-based file system Ubuntu.
Well, did you say you saw it on your K drive on your Explorer now?
No, I didn't look for it. Keybase kbfs Ubuntu. Install. I don't. It gave me an error when I logged in. I may have to install a new version or something.
Are you on Ubuntu right now, Jim, or Windows?
Well, I'm on both. My Git bash is on Windows.
Here, I mean, here's the thing, though, Gary. Like, you know, if we don't know where the file is actually located, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter because it's hashed and it's stored in whatever the distributed system is.
Yeah.
So we don't
need permissions, no matter. I mean, they may have the file, but without the permissions to decrypt it, you know, they've got nothing.
And is it redundant? Like, do we know if the file gets deleted on one computer, it'll still be on the cloud, or like, how does that work?
Well, anyone that has permission to delete it can delete it, and it will be gone for everybody.
But let's say I reformat my computer. It's like it's stored on my K drive, and let's say I reformat my computer. I didn't delete it on Keybase, but I did reformat the hard drive. What happens to the file?
Oh, that's a good question. See, that would have that command, that removal would have never been seen by Keybase. You have to send Keybase instructions, you know, for the network to agree that the file has been deleted, and so no such consensus would have ever been reached. No,
So
the file would still be there in that case.
So let's say I format all my devices. Theoretically, there's some place on the cloud, their cloud, where the file still lives, where it gets pushed back to my devices once I install a K drive there again.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you formatted one, you know, your one hard drive, and I don't really recommend doing that just yet, but it's an interesting thought experiment. And
yeah.
But no, that would have no effect on the files in the distributed Keybase network.
Okay, so it is truly distributed then.
Yeah, I guess so. Good way of thinking about it though, because you're right. That does suggest true distributed.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great if we could get some more information on them, you know, because at least with IPFS, we like know how it works, you know.
Well, I
don't like the black.
I agree, and I suggest that we consider getting our prototype running, because I mean this just is a proof of concept. But I think once we see it running on Keybase, you know, by that time we will know enough whether we need to continue putting energies into the Keybase project or immediately expand into the IPFS.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no,
still,
I like that as a way of approaching it. I really do.
Yeah, this isn't working.
I mean, if they've really pulled this if they've really pulled this together, this is very impressive. You know. Oh, by the way, Steve, I saw that article you posted about the new CryptoKitties thing. That looked very interesting.
Yeah, I thought, yeah. Let me go back and look at that again.
Flow, they're calling it Flow. Looks like it's like a digital asset, like in a gaming asset system.
Okay, it says this should work. Let's just see if it does. Oops. No such file or directory. Let me try sudo. No such file or directory. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Right, this is clearly a file that's there because I just looked at it. It's a sample file, I think.
Spox.
Oh, I was on mute. You don't have access to Chris. You have access to Jim Scarver.
I do have access to Chris because I just looked at that file a minute ago.
Oh, okay. Well,
Must
carry
be
on.
public. I don't know. I don't know what that was, but so got that. Wow, it did give an error. Oh no, it did give an error. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong. Okay, well, I thought this was going to be real easy, but apparently it's not. I'm having a little bit of trouble with it.
I think you're making it too hard though, because I went through all this too before I finally found the answers to my questions.
Yeah, well, I think we got it on the Windows machine. Okay, I got now.
Click on it and see what you see.
Now I got everything here.
Click on that. And that, the Rolang, click on Rolang. Yeah, see, now that, to me, that's truly distributed.
Yeah. But
So that's a whole lot of our project done now, but it's kind of hard to see how it, it never was really.
Well, Gary, can I ask a stupid question?
Ask away.
Well, so with IPFS, my understanding is that the distributed cloud is co-stored, right? So like if I'm hosting an IPFS node, I'm also hosting random bits of other people's files, right, on my computer as well. Whereas with this, it doesn't seem like I have to allocate storage space for like proof of storage in order to in order to validate my participation in the network. And so I'm wondering if this is actually distributed in that way, if we as participants aren't co-hosting each other's files.
I don't think that's a stupid question. It's a good question, but my thinking about that is those are questions to be answered, but there's so much of this toy model that can be completed with us just assuming that it's storing that way, because our interface with kbfs will be so similar that we'll probably be able to just
Port it seamlessly, yeah.
just change the targets of all of our art objects from kbfs to IPFS and still continue to to reap all the benefits of Keybase.
No, you're right. You're right. No, I see exactly what you're saying. I mean, I'm sorry I keep bringing it up. I just, I'm trying to understand it, you know, but like that, you're absolutely right. That's exactly how we should be approaching it. I just want to understand like what the limitations of the thing are, you know?
I can't prove it, and I don't know if it's even true, but I wouldn't be that surprised. I mean, I feel you're going to be much happier with Keybase than you're concerned about.
All right.
I think you're gonna start talking about trade-offs pretty soon.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no, I mean, it's interesting. It's just like, cause what I want to do is start writing about some of these tools a little bit and like start thinking about how we contextualize them and what purposes each of them is serving, you know? Because the distributed object framework was basically designed with Ethereum in mind. And so now we're using kind of this new next gen tool set. And I'm like, okay, that's actually really interesting. Now I need to really start like thinking about what each of these things is and what its hard limitations are. So like that can be sort of drawn out, you know, like I want to be able to talk to people soon about what this is and what tools we're using. You know what I mean? Like even just if it's my graduate seminar, just be able to like, yeah, we're using these tools to talk about these specific issues that need to be solved. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, and whether or not whether or not these tools are providing the ultimate features that we want in our product is really, you know, we are agnostic about that at this stage, because to spend too much time worrying about that with the limited resources we have is,
no, it's counterproductive to,
it's going to move us into it's probably going to move us into the model a little clearer if we argue all these things out now. But I ultimately think we'll stay on this path regardless of what we would decide about IPFS. I mean, we may decide, you know, yeah, we're going to have to move to IPFS, but we're also going to have to move to ladle once a ladle comes online. And there's a lot of things we don't have yet that are going to make life a whole lot easier for us. And we're operating on several of those assumptions about some of those things becoming available to us. I mean, I don't see this thing scaling until we get a bit further down the road.
Yeah. Okay, I hear you. Cool.
So the Keybase file system is a distributed file system with end-to-end encryption and a global namespace. It's open source code. So we can take this, we can run it ourselves, right?
Go back to that screen.
Okay. Distributed means you can access the file from any device. File system means there is no.
Well, if we could back up to that sentence right there, we've been talking about distributed files, and their definition of what distributed is different from mine.
Right, but it also means you can access from anywhere.
But and then Google Cloud is distributed too.
Yeah. Okay, kbfs don't take permanently file space on your devices. End-to-end encryption means that it's guaranteed integrity and authorization, confidentiality. Keybase namespace.
Let's go back up to, we were talking, there was one sentence up there. Okay, hold on just a sec. Oh, go up some more. That's not it either.
Crypto design. Security model.
So it says file system means there is no sync model. Files stream in and out on demand. Among other things, that means that files on kbfs don't permanently take up space on your devices. kbfs does use the local disk for temporary and transient data. And then there's a policy on that. Local disk usage policy. Did you look at that, Jim?
Yeah.
Okay. Local disk usage policy. As mentioned above, kbfs streams data into and out of your device on demand and doesn't store data permanently on your disk. However, for performance reasons, kbfs does use your local disk in two different ways, limiting the amount of space it uses based on the amount of disk space currently available on the disk partition storing your local home directory. This only applies to the desktop devices at the moment, since kbfs is not yet available on mobile devices. Oh, this needs to be updated. All data stored to disk is first encrypted.
So is what they're saying that they do store some random data there too? Or it's like using your system as a buffer, but for your own data?
Yeah. They go on further. Temporary local rights. After files are written to kbfs, but before they are uploaded to the servers, they will temporarily use disk space on your device. See the journaled rights section above. We limit this usage to 85% of your available disk space up to a maximum of 170 gigabytes. These files will be deleted as soon as the sync successfully to the kbfs, as they sync to successfully the kbfs servers. Then they talk about on-disk transient cache. This is limited to 10% of your available disk space up to a maximum of 20 gigabytes. It's evicted from this cache automatically to maintain the overall percentage. There is currently no way to adjust any of these limits or the locations of the directories. In addition, the kbfs process writes log files to your Keybase log directory. The Keybase logs are limited to about 400 megabytes total. Does that tell us any more about where these files are kept?
Opaque blobs. They're kept in opaque blobs. Data in these blocks are encrypted and they're padded. Oh, that's interesting. So it is moving through their folders, through their servers, but it's padded. Interesting.
Jim, I think a more useful exercise would be for you to go through the Git bash and write a file to Keybase with Keybase commands.
Alyssa, I can look at a file as it was 5 minutes ago.
So any file or set of files in a directory, it'll store backups of that file, is what they're saying?
Well, apparently, yeah. It didn't tell us much about how it's stored at this point.
Kind of interesting to do like a generative art piece that just updates and everything gets saved. So the piece itself isn't saving, but like Keybase saves it. So you have basically 2 weeks of a generative output.
Yeah, you could license your work of art based on edition number or version number, or you could have all kinds of interesting contracts
Yeah.
to license the thing. I think that's going to be really the final magic of this thing. If it ever happens, we're going to come up with a contract that just makes so much sense that just using that contract alone becomes the killer DApp.
It looks like if you do a Keybase FS, you might be able to access these files. Nope. Oh, okay. Keybase. Okay, it does have an ls command. Why didn't that work?
You did FS.
I did cat. I didn't do ls. Ls works. So if I do fs ls, and I do Keybase public, I can see I have Chris, I have Jim Scrubber. Okay, the files are, I don't see the files except when I type the Keybase fs command.
Well, that's the way you talk to the file system on Keybase, is through the Keybase command line interpreter.
And so if I do CP, I can copy. And I can move files. And so we can receive a file and we can send it. We can send it to somewhere. Control R. JPG. Keybase. Public. Jim Scriber. Okay, Keybase public Jim Scriber. Well, I'm going to, I'm not going to copy, or I am going to copy, but I'm going to do a Keybase file system copy. And now I should have that file there. Not there. Keybase public Jim Scriber. Keybase public Jim Scriber. Didn't give an error. Keybase FFLS. Oh, logo.jpg. Yeah, it's there. That's right. I did copy it. Right. I just had that logo, which was in the wrong place. Okay, so so I put a file out there. Now, I don't know how I sync it so that everybody else sees it. Oh, Keybase. So if I go to files, and I go to public, and I go to Jim Scriber, whoa, it already knows.
So Jim, you just used Bash to upload those files to the kbfs server, and then it pushed it back onto your local hard drive.
Right. Well,
Baller.
I could access it through my hard drive, but it didn't push it. No, I pulled it.
Okay.
It didn't push it, but now he has access to it.
When I accessed the directory, it must have said, there's another file. Before it had cached cached this guy. That was the only file I had in there. So then in Linux, I put a file here. Okay, so now we know how to, oh my goodness, we're over time. Now we know how to copy files. Okay, so
what's for next time?
Well, what's for next time? How do we want to do this?
Or when is next time?
Yeah, I was going to say when is next time?
We could work on it tomorrow if we don't have anything else to work on.
Yeah, actually, during our DApp developer working group, we don't have anything on the agenda, so we could make this a.
I think that would be a low priority, but maybe not. We'll see what.
We'll see who shows up.
People bring. I think there's a lot of talk of important work about wallets and stuff. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so. Our next step is, well, there's everybody who needs an account on robot.net, but I guess we can worry about that tomorrow. Make sure everyone has an account.
What time are you meeting tomorrow?
Same time, 4 p.m. New York time.
Okay.
Don't you guys have Hollow Chain tomorrow at 4?
No, it's at 2 o'clock, I think, right? Or 2:30.
Oh, Hollow Chain's at 2:30 East Coast time?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's just for 30 minutes?
No, it's for an hour.
Well, tomorrow at 3 is our DApp developer working group.
Do I not have it on my calendar? Oh, what that is. That's at 3. I guess it's at 1:30. Maybe I should put it on a calendar, huh?
And while Jim's working on that, Eric, so I've been speaking with a colleague of mine. Well, that email that I sent you regarding the micro digital photography of
Yeah.
Tom Saunders. Yeah. So
You want to set a time to talk with them?
well, so I think what I'm going to do on in this end here is first, I've never met Tom Saunders, so and I think he's starting from zero as far as when it comes to the world of blockchain, and so I think I have to kind of educate him on some of the very fundamentals and basic, and then I'll gauge his interest to see if he's interested in learning more. So why don't I? So it's Tom Nacera is my colleague, and his friend is Tom Saunders, who is the artist. So the three of us are going to get together, talk about blockchain and blockchain art and what the possibilities are, and then out of that conversation, I'll have a better sense of if this is something that they're interested in, or what direction it wants to take. But apparently, Tom Saunders, he's very prolific at this type of art. So he has thousands upon thousands of these digital images. So as far as someone, if he's interested in a digital art object framework, as far as content goes, he's got a lot of it. So it'll just be interesting to see, when we meet, where the conversation kind of goes.
Yeah, I mean, like, the thing is, there's lots of artists with lots of content.
Okay.
And so, like, I'm afraid of if you start inviting like lots of artists into this working group, are like I'm just, my fear is that our attention will get diverted into a lot of different sort of directions, and like that's not really what we're working on, is creating a platform for people to upload their images to and figure out how to sell them yet. Mm-hmm. So my feeling is, if he's interested in the like sort of the more nuts and bolts technical stuff, then awesome. But like, I don't think it's a good idea to start inviting people that are totally just unfamiliar with this whole world,
right.
And don't have any sense of it, and are just there's other places that they could go to audition their work,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that said, and like, if I have to spend the entire meeting starting to explain this stuff to him, that's not something I'm totally interested in doing, just because like we don't have a lot of time, and I don't have a lot of time.
Gotcha.
But like, that said, like, I also don't want to be an asshole and totally like say like, oh, don't bring new people here. We should be inviting new people here. I just don't know the best way of bracketing it so we can sort of invite people into the fold, have a conversation with them, but still maintain our focus,
Right.
Because like, I know dozens and dozens and dozens of digital artists, that I could be inviting here, but I'm not, because it won't be productive for us,
Mm-hmm.
And like, I mean, I'm working with you guys specifically because I have this background with blockchain tools, right? And whether if we wind up producing like a kind of speculative artwork together, awesome. But otherwise, like we're just developing this framework, and it's useful to just do that. Whereas if you start inviting people who either have completely tangential or divergent project ideas that aren't related to this.
Yeah.
Like I read the DAPI white paper actually a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it was interesting. But the problem with it is it's another proprietary framework that runs exclusively on our chain, And so I wasn't sure what he wanted from us, if other than to conscript us to develop another thing on his platform, which, to the extent that we can, I don't want to get wrapped up in someone's proprietary ecosystem,
Right. Yeah.
But that said, like, yeah, super happy to talk to the guy. It's just like, if we're going to treat this as a working group, then we should treat it as a working group,
Yeah. Gotcha.
But maybe there's a meeting, maybe we start hosting once a month, like a thing that's like, hey, are you interested in art in the blockchain and art chain and collab? Like, come to this meeting, and then we can kind of have this open, this sort of lateral discussion to acclimate people. Does that sound like useful?
Yeah, I think there's the technical nuts and bolts piece of it, but then there's also the marketing and presentation piece of it. So, and ultimately, the two have to kind of, move forward. And so that would be the venue, is maybe once a month, have that marketing and presentation aspects to make people aware of what it is we're doing and what's, what the potential is.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the right idea, and frankly, like that would be good because I have to present some of these ideas anyway to like the group, like to some of the academic groups that I'm working with.
Okay.
So like it's kind of like that's a process that needs to happen. This stuff needs to be once we're at like a bit of like a little further down the line.
Okay.
I think it would be really useful to put together a presentation, but we're just sort of playing with things right now. And so I wrote that paper to sort of be like, all right, this is whatever has been on my brain for the last couple of years.
Right.
But now it's sort of like we're sort of figuring out, well, what tools do we want to use? Are we going to use Keybase? Okay, let's start prodding this thing and poking at it and seeing what it does. I don't know if that's useful for random people to show up to,
Actually, I like that other idea better, where once you need to sort of take all of our work and start to compile it into a presentation, to present to the academics, as far as maybe as a rehearsal, that would be a good venue for others to come in and see. So maybe we'll wait until we get to that point and you're starting to work on a presentation.
I mean, yeah, like I love what Philip Sheldrake does with, like the Dig Life Collective. And like, I love going to those meetings because they're super lateral and I learn a lot from the people that tend to show up to them, because they're all like doing all this really crazy systems research. And like, I'm just like, what are you reading? Give me books to read. And they're like, oh, I'm reading this and that and the other thing. And it's like really great. And then like we all sort of talk about like, oh, I'm working on this project. I'm working on that project, but it's not really like a working group. And so it's like the purpose of it is to sort of acclimate people to the idea of the Dig Life Collective and get people like me to get really interested in it, because there's smart, cool people hanging out there who I can talk to,
All right.
This seems like we've kind of like, I don't know. It seems like we're getting focused right now here, and starting to like figure out like which direction, like what tools we're going to use.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. We do need to do both things. Why don't we set up a time in the next couple of weeks that's just like an open? We put it on the art chain calendar, and it's sort of just like open art and blockchain discussion.
Okay.
And we can sort of promote it throughout Collab and Marchain and Holochain and invite a bunch of people in to talk,
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. So I'll be getting together with the two other Toms, and based on how that conversations goes, I'll report back, and so we'll just, in a sense, kind of play it by ear, but we're kind of feeling out what the possible plans are.
Do you understand what I'm saying though? Do I sound like an asshole by like saying like,
No, well, I think, I want to be sensitive to, you're a graduate student, so you're working on this for your academic degree. So you've got to be able to show something as for your coursework. So we need to, it all needs to make some progress. So I'm sensitive to the fact that, we want to get something together. And I also know that you've been working on this for 5 or 6 years, with the Ethereum group and with others. And it's just been, a lot of conversation and talk, and you don't have anything there in hand. So it resonates with, wanting to actually build something and have something, worthwhile to show. So, and I'm right there with you, because I think, talking and discussing is one thing, but building and putting something together is another. So during this whole, effort, these types of things have to come up. You have, just work through them. But I think we've got a few ideas and possibilities on how to handle, these different scenarios.
yeah, I mean, because the other thing is, it's like, I mean, on one level, even if like we do a bunch of test prototypes and none of them work, I mean, in my mind, it's still okay, because like as long as we're sort of documenting our progress and like sort of thinking like critically about the use of these tools and how they work together, that's
Sure.
also really useful, right?
Okay. Yeah.
It's like, it's not like, oh, I need to see a prototype, and if this thing doesn't get made, it's like, no, it's like, this is the process itself is the work,
Okay, that was helpful too. So yeah. So even if we don't come up with something that is, the thing that actually works, documenting everything that we've kind of researched and went through has value.
Yeah,
So,
like this is like almost like a research group, like a research working group.
okay.
In my mind, I don't know, versus our song, which, they were trying to launch a business, and I don't think that we've talked about this, that we're not sort of doing this in that way,
Well, and these are good discussions to have to get an understanding of what this group is, or these hours that we spend together with each other, what being on the same page of what everyone's view of what the outcome is, or what the value is in the work that we do. So it just helps me to understand your perspective on this. So,
But I agree that our goal here is not to create a marketable product, but I see it as many-fold. I see there are many different viewpoints and beliefs that are expressed here, and we're kind of converging on a central theme. And one of the themes that is motivating me is the idea of this collaborative art project as a working model, as a way of enabling and funding our passions.
Yeah, I mean, I would love it if an art project came out of this research. That would be that. I mean, to me, that would be great. I'd love that.
But notwithstanding, if an art project came out of it, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, an art project has already come out of it, in the starry flag that we shared amongst 3 of us. That's not 100%, but it's a consensus, so that we now have a distributed art system, and I allowed you, you four to have access to it. Only two of you decided to take me up on it.
Well, I couldn't yet, but that's a good point. And so like the video of us working on that process actually could be considered a type of art performance, where we're creating a distributed image among ourselves,
Yes.
I think we want to go a step further and write a macro that generates events from Rolang in order to store files and such. I mean, we can look at we basically need a simple ticket program. You have to be able to upload an art object, okay, which version 1.01 just has some very basic information in it, like maybe a path of where it is on Keybase. Okay, and it could be, I mean, we could make it simple, make everything owned by the bot in version 1. The bot owns everything. We trust the bot. All the code of the bot is visible. Everybody says it's okay.
I second the motion. All in favor?
That's an interesting idea, that the bot is the owner of the art.
The way we want to do it eventually.
I mean, that's really letting go. You got a piece of artwork that you've perhaps created, but now you're deeding ownership and the responsibility of that artwork to the bot, provided that there's that, smart contracts, which...
You have to be convinced that he's going to follow your rules, that your contracts are going to be okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of an ultimate goal.
Well, did we talk about the Terra Zero project?
So, I don't know. You see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm in robot testing here. I'm gonna download a picture. I'm gonna upload a picture.
Okay.
Okay.
But no, what I'm saying is,
What
Jim,
happened
all that stuff you're saying is wonderful. I'm glad this has occurred to you. This is amazing. But my point was, we're going to produce an end product. We could say we've already produced it now, and we could tokenize the energy that we put into the project in some way, and our contributions would be measured in hours of Zoom sessions, and we could write into our contract that on-screen performances of during the event or production of content, get special treatment. However, we want to do that in our contract. And we end up with an art object that's owned by the people who produced it, who will, cooperatively agree on this contract that rewards them for the use of their object. And at first, it would be something that reflects all of our participation, in just a token fashion. But later, market forces being what they are, we would have to start acting properly.
Yeah, Gary, if I understand it correctly, I'm liking that idea that, for instance, this recording and the recordings that we've done previously are in some regards a performance. This is the art. So you're taking this, the MP3 file that will result from this meeting, that gets uploaded to the Keybase file system, and we create the smart contract and so forth. So then that in a sense becomes the art. So and then we can start thinking through the qualifiers of the smart contract on how we want to manage the art. So in a sense, we're on that path, we're on that road, we're already creating this art. We just have to think of it in those terms.
Yes.
So here we're four actors in this presentation, and so as actors in this performance that we're doing, do we want to tokenize it? So we start thinking about the economic aspects of our performance, and do we see ourselves as equal parties in this presentation, in this performance? Does one person have more value than the other? Is there any type of tier structure that we want to create? How do we want to think about that? So I'm thinking about us as individuals in this performance.
Well, we probably should, come up with, start looking at contracts that people use for endeavors like this to determine how we might structure such a thing. But I'm thinking about, people should be rewarded for their energies that they spend or time they dedicate to these projects.
Mm-hmm.
We've been talking about this in the collab and in our chain. What was it? The bounty system we had on our chain. We wanted to reward people for participating in activities that led to the completion of our chain. The bounty system didn't work out so well. But I'm thinking about a different funding model here where, 5 or 6 of us decide, we're going to do a project and we want to tokenize the project, and then we want to decide on the contract that determines the distribution of this product of the project.
Well, so is the object?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Finish your thought, Gary.
Well, no, I'm getting to the point where say 5 of us, we'll all put up an equal number of open money tokens for the funding of this project.
I see what you're getting at. So you want to use the open money system where we're each putting up currency.
Before we do that, we have to add the 2 open money commands to Robot.
2?
I think there's only 2 commands.
Oh, gee, that'll take another session, won't it?
Yeah. We just crossed the API. I mean, there's one command, OM, was open money, and then it was like just a couple things you can do, and I have to look back and see if I can find that pinned Michael's design for the 2 commands.
Yeah, I've got the link somewhere, but that was kind of the point I was getting to. Should we also use this exercise to attempt to come up with an implementation of the open money system, which we use in both a learning fashion, but also with the belief that there's a chance that this could work and we could use it in the future to spur development of other, worthwhile endeavors, whatever they might be. Is that, I've been talking about Michael and his open money system for a long time, and I'm perfectly happy if we continue the project in total volunteer fashion. I will not expend any less energy on it.
Yeah,
But,
well, I'd like to, have open money and have that somehow tied to an Ethereum token at some point, so that we could cash out our open money.
well, if we're doing it on Keybase, we have access to Lumen already.
That's right. We can use Lumen.
I mean, we can make this thing real, right now.
Right. And what I say is, okay, we have to upload an art object. Okay, and so what I'm doing here is that when we get client on a message, I'm going to log to the console the message. What do I put? And I'm going to put the message dot attachment.
But think about this,
Okay.
say we all fund this project with $1,000 in Lumen.
Yeah, you're getting ahead of us.
Oh.
Let's get the art object saved, get the ticket contract working. Okay, so I can do. So I'm gonna write the attachment out here to see what we get, and we'll. Okay, we're logged in again, and now we're running, oops, wrong line. Where is this one? Oh, it's right here. Okay, so, let me just copy an image, any image, publish a smaller one. And I'm going to add an attachment. Oh, no, I won't. I'll just paste in the image. Okay. And it didn't print out anything for the attachment. Did I get an error?
Oh, hey guys, I have a random thing. So, as part of our art collective project, do you guys want to come to Buffalo and do like a fake academic art decentralized technology convention with me? There's this place called the Innovation Center that I'm talking to. They're like the local startup scene, and I may be convincing them to let me do my MFA thesis show there in the form of a corporate convention. Like I'm literally going to throw a corporate convention, like a startup con thing at their venue, right? And call it like the conference, the Buffalo con, like decentralized tech con or something like that. But like basically I want to like bring like all my friends up to just get like, and just like make it as like weird as possible. But I'm gonna like like actually format it as a very, very traditional corporate conference, you know, with like the banners, like the banner ads and like the tabling, you know, the booth design, like, you know, some pop-up videos, but like very, very like low key. But then we like kind of sneak in there and like sort of like frame it out like that, but have like these really radical ideas about like cooperation and like localized currencies and stuff like that. This is
That's
like
interesting.
this may be a real thing. So if this they just emailed me back like a second ago. If they do this, this will be real. This is going to be totally real.
What time? When is the event, or when are
it would be like, I don't know. I'm thinking like April, like late April or something
time?
like that.
Okay. Well, keep us posted.
It'd be funny, right? It's like,
Yeah. No,
because like there's like it'd be like, all right, so like there's this thing in New York called Creative Tech Week, which is basically the Scott Elizabeth Draves. They're really into crypto art and stuff, but it's like all the kind of like art and technology stuff, and they have a whole week of it, and like it's kind of like, it was cool for a while. Now it's like really not cool anymore, and me and my buddy were like, we should throw a counter festival called Uncreative Tech Week. And like, we just do like, have all of our freaky like artist friends do startup pitches for like 3 days straight, you know? You know, it was, I don't know, we thought it'd be funny. And like, dude, like getting a grant for like $5,000 and spending it all on swag. So like, they, you know, like the little squishy balls and like pencil sharpeners and stuff like that.
it does
Like,
sound pretty neat.
that actually would be like, that was something I was talking with some of the Ethereum bros about, was doing an art show where like it's all corporate swag, but we tokenize the corporate swag and like that as the art object. So there's like pedestals with like squishy balls and like cell phone chargers and like you know, like this like water bottles, like stuff that you would find at like a corporate conference. But like that's like, those are the art objects, and they've all been tokenized with non-fungible tokens, you know. It was one of my brilliant ideas that's never going to go anywhere. But you know, here, let me see if I could send you guys the proposal. Here's it. I mean, like I like this guy Sam. He's pretty like genuine, and he's trying to get like a startup scene going in Buffalo, which they have like a little bit. They have like a little bit of a thing going on here.
Well, I just going to find an example of picking up an attachment here. But if you put an object, if you upload an attachment here,
Yeah.
we can copy that file to Keybase.
So let me understand it. So what's supposed to be happening is you upload a file to Discord, to the robot testing channel, and then that's supposed to make its way over to Keybase. Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah, right. We would create an art object. Okay, which would look something like um, uh, and whatever, we would have some contract. We would have all the fields that were in there in in a we have a map with all the fields in the art object, and uh, that would get returned if you did a read on the object. Art object, let's say info, have an info capability.
Okay.
And we have a view capability, and we have an update capability.
Yeah, update, reuse and update are the same thing. What about if I use your work of art in my work of art?
Reuse, you need a Creative Commons license for that. Remix, reuse.
We're not worried about that in our first proof of concept.
All right.
But then basically we would then we could attach a file to this contract, right? And then save that file on Keybase. But then
what are these fields like? New, like, so you're instantiating a new art obj, and then what is info, view, and update? They are just fields that you're instantiating, or what?
your capabilities.
So this is the smart contract that what we would be creating in Rolang, right, Jim?
It would
This
be a
is
macro.
the Mac Rolang contract.
We're gonna have a get ticket or at least something like that, or just ticket.
You know, if I use your art object in my art object, you shouldn't care, because I'm going to pay you for every use.
You have to have a ticket.
Never mind, I've answered my own question, but you're going to like it when you get it.
All right.
Explain it, Gary.
Well, yeah, and this is one of those things that came in an intuitive flash, so I'm not sure I can put it into words yet.
Nice.
The only way my contract can run your contract is if it abides by your contract. And if it abides by your contract, you don't care what I do with it, as long as I pay you for the usage. And it should be, and our contract should be written so that they can be read by other machines. Oh, I like this already. Composable art objects.
Yeah, I mean, that's like what you're describing is a rights management system that says, like, okay, if this art object is designed to be viewed freely and you're abiding by the contract that governs that art object, then we don't care how you use it.
That's right, and it may be just a creative reassignment of rights is all that ends up being done, but it will still be of value because, you know, we will have the contracts that can do that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think that would be a definitely like a one permutation that should be explored, as far as basically like we can create something that operates that way. So it's basically a smart contract that's designed to interact with other smart contracts.
Yeah.
So you can create basically a complex generative art piece through the interaction of several smart contracts.
Yes, and there would be no way to fully exercise the contract, you know, without them being machine runnable, you know, in an automated fashion.
Yeah.
It's because these things are going to get complex quick, but that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, after a certain point, it becomes unwieldy, and then you don't know what it'll produce, right?
Well, you know, you give them the power to produce anything they want, and then just sit back and reap the rewards as their creativity, you know, uses and reuses your art object in amazing ways, and everybody's happy. The end user and everybody along the way. But yeah, I'd love to. We've made great progress today, and I don't know if open money is sidetracking us right now, or if we just need to keep plugging away at what we're doing.
I think the ideas. One thing I've learned is the ideas are good. The ideas will come. You know, I think we have.
Don't force it. Don't push it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think in this, it feels to me right now that like just doing what we're doing and working in this is the right idea, and then we'll have ideas that will be spurred by the technical limitations or constraints or possibilities that are afforded, you know, that we aren't realizing. And that's kind of like what art technology research is all about. You know, it's sort of we're in a way like what we're doing right now is we're acting like sculptors, and we're sort of exploring the properties of the medium. And then as we sort of discover things about it, we get ideas about like, oh, well, we can do this thing with it, or we can do that thing with it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know, we'll make some mistakes, but I think we can, you know, there's no reason why we can't do a simple proof of concept fairly simply. Okay, you know, we found out how to put an object on T-based file system. Okay, we started to investigate how to get an attachment to a Discord message into Robot so that we could put it on Keybase.
So robot is going to generate a file. The robot was going to just generate a JSON file in Keybase, or what is it going to do?
Well, you know, a rolling file for the
A rolling file, yeah.
Okay, but the attachment could be any file format,
Yeah.
depending on what the art object was. Right now, it could be JSON. There's very little difference between JSON and Rolang. A Rolang map and a JSON map, I guess, are identical in format.
Interesting. All right, I'm into this. So
guys.
Cool. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, everybody.
Yep, thanks, everybody.
Cool. Very cool. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Okay, have a great day.
You too.